Good afternoon and welcome to the summer edition of the Sustainable Urban Mobility Investor Matching that we're running from the Connected Mobility Hub on behalf of EDIH. Sergio will come on screen in a second and explain what the EDIH is. But from my part, just to talk you through very briefly what we're going to do today and what the Connected Mobility Hub is. So the Connected Mobility Hub is a non-profit association focused on supporting smart mobility startups from across Europe. We have a larger proportion of startups from Southern Europe, but we support startups from all across Europe. And one of the things we do with that is support startups, connecting them with investors. So if you are an investor that's watching this and you'd like to join one of the future sessions, please let me know. Just send me a direct message and I'll add you into the list. Now, how these sessions work is first of all, we'll explain who we are. So I've done it for the Hub. Sergio will now do it for EDIH, and then Matthias will do it for Rethink Ventures. And then we jump into the pitches. Very simple format. The startup has 4 minutes for the pitch. Then there's 5 minutes for Q&A. The Q&A in particular is between, in this instance, Matthias from Rethink and the startup. However, if anyone from the audience would like to interact and ask a question, then we will put it up on screen and we'll make sure that it gets answered. So this is an interactive event. It's not just us here on screen. Unidirectional in a unidirectional way. Well, anyway, without more ado, I'll first of all bring on Sergio just to talk through what the EDIH is, then Matthias, and then we'll get started with the pitches. So Sergio, all yours to explain to everyone what the EDIH is.
Okay, thank you, Tom, and hello, everybody. So just a quick review of what we do in the EDIH. So basically, what we do there, those are regional innovation ecosystem. They are aimed to help businesses, small and mid-cap businesses and public sector to address digital challenges, but always using deep tech. So we are focusing in companies that work with AI, big data, blockchain, cybersecurity, and high computation. We do different kind of activities. We will be focusing now, and this is funded by the European Commission and the Digital Europe program. Just to know that as regional innovation ecosystems, we have like around 150 in Europe, and we belong to the EDIH Madrid region. So there we are 11 partners with different. We have different kind of partners. There are innovation hubs. There are universities, some big companies like Hewlett-Packard, and other different associations like industrial or services association. We have different thematic topics, and we from Connected Mobility Hub, we are focusing mobility. There are 4 kinds of different activities that we do. We do a basis of skills and training. After that, we do what we call test before invest. Traditional business companies and public sector ask for test technology in order to decide if they want to invest further. And then we help support to find this invest. We support as well startups like in this event to find a private investment. So that's all, a brief, and I let Tom continue.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Sergio. Well, with that, I'll take your screen off and I'll take you off. So thank you, and I'll bring on Matthias to describe Rethink Ventures and tell us all about themselves. Matthias, it's all yours. Oh, you're muted.
Now you should be able to hear me.
Now I can hear you, yes.
Yeah. So thank you very much for the opportunity to meet you guys and to hear about new exciting startups. So we are Rethink Ventures. We are a venture capital fund based in Munich. We focus on the transport sector, covering mobility and logistics space in Europe. We're a specialist fund for the early stage, so we usually invest after accelerator programs or specialized pre-seed investors. We invest tickets of 500,000 to 2 million. Our sweet spot is the seed stage. Within our space of mobility and logistics, we cover everything from vehicle tech to new mobility offerings, to new robotics or AI solutions in that space. And our core thesis is how to decarbonize the transportation of people and goods.
Perfect. Well, I hope that you enjoy the event today and that you find it useful. So we'll get started first of all with Robert from Squad Solar Car. Squad Mobility. Robert, there you go, brilliant. He's already showing his screen, so perfectly done. So you've got 4 minutes for the pitch, Robert. I'll time it. I'll wander off now and I'll be back in 4 minutes. So when you see me on screen, it's time to finish. Good luck.
Thank you, Tom. Yes, we have developed the Squad, world's first solar city car and a solution for urban mobility and urban emissions. The Squad is designed for all the short trips around the house, for example, grocery shopping or taking the kids to school. I'm Robert Hoevers, co-founder, CEO of Squad Mobility, and together with my partner, we each have more than 25 years of experience in mobility. We met at the Lightyear solar car project. I was one of the initiators of the FIA Formula E, and my co-founder Chris has worked at Renault, Piaggio, and designed the Lightyear solar car. The Squad is inspired by 3 mega trends: the increasingly stricter urban low emission zones, more than 500 in Europe now, the ban on the sales of new petrol cars in the EU by 2035, and the growth of shared mobility services. However, electric cars are still too expensive for many people. The L6 and L7 segments offer opportunities for affordable electric mobility. The Squad starts at 6,250 euros. In cities, single occupancy cars are the main contributors to congestion and parking issues. And an estimated 30% of all drivers currently on the road are actively looking for parking. So the Squad is designed around the 4 main pillars. Affordability. The Squad starts at 6,250 euros. Comfort, for example, the powerful air conditioning. Security and sustainability, of course. The Squad uses less energy than public transport per person per kilometer. We can charge the Squad in 3 ways. Of course, fully automatic by solar energy each and every day throughout its whole lifetime. Up to 25 kilometers per day on a nice day in the Netherlands, and over 30 kilometers in Spain. Charging through a regular socket or a charge point, and through the portable and the swappable batteries. The average usage, daily usage of these kind of microcars is approximately 10 to 12 kilometers per day. So 90% of the world's population live within the 45 degrees north and 45 degrees south latitude on Earth. In this zone, the Squad solar car is fully solar powered for the average user, so never needing to charge. The Squad has a maximum range of 150 kilometers with a maximum of 6 swappable batteries, excluding the solar energy. And the Squad can be parked crosswise in an average parking spot, so 3 Squads fit in 1 single parking spot. Around 25% of our pre-orders is without doors. So for many people, that's an attractive solution. Squad's market position is in between the electric moped and the car. We identified the target market segment between 6,000 and 11,000 euros. McKinsey has predicted that the total addressable market of mini mobility is $340 billion worldwide. We plan to grow to 20,000 squads per year by 2027, but we see a potential of over 150,000 squads in the global market. We now have more than 5,000 pre-orders with an average pre-order fee of more than 60 euros. The squad is extremely popular in the US, for example, in gated communities, campuses, and also resorts. And in Europe, most pre-orders come from Germany. We also have many orders worldwide, for example, from the GCC, Japan, and many Caribbean and European islands. The squad is designed for sharing and fleet, and we are developing a complete suite of connected IoT capabilities. For example, with remote diagnostics, maintenance prediction, cameras, and even remote control. We recently started a 12 million EU-funded project where we are further developing the squad together with Renault, Toyota, and 20 other partners. We receive a subsidy of 1.4 million from this budget. We will develop a complete product portfolio based on 2 platforms, the 2-person L6 and the 4-person L7 platform, 45 kilometers L6 and 70 kilometers an hour L7. And also versions for shared mobility, food delivery, and all matching accessories. We are currently raising 3 million euro against a valuation of 30 million, where the first 1.8 million get a 25% discount. You can reach this proposal, this emission, on our website. Those are real shares, they're not certificates. And I hope to welcome the visitors and the listeners to pay us a visit and consider this offer. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Matthias, it's all yours for questions. I'll be back in 5 minutes. If you run out of questions, so don't worry, I'll be in the background and I'll come in and swiftly move on. So it's all yours.
No. Thanks, Robert. Thanks for the presentation. How are you going to produce the cars and how are you going to sell the cars?
Yeah, so our own focus is to develop market supply chain. And those 2 aspects that you mentioned, we're planning to do with partners. So production, we're talking with a number of potential partners to do the assembly of the vehicles. One very good option would be to produce it in Saudi Arabia. We're talking with a district in the west part of Saudi Arabia to do the production there. They have some very good incentives to do that, but there are also other countries interested to do production. The way we produce is we want to produce in the market where we sell the vehicles, and with that production I mean mainly assembly. So we would develop the concept of micro factories around 20,000 square meters, where we assemble the vehicle for the local market. When it comes to distribution, there too we want to work with partners, and currently more than 300 potential distributors have approached us already through the website, where we will work with them as our distribution and mainly service partners as well.
Okay, and in terms of from the early traction that you have, I mean, you're selling a vehicle, yeah. So what we see is the L6 type, right? And you're working in parallel on the L7, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What is the pain point that you address, the specific pain point? Because there are many solutions out there that try to be cheap, comfortable, safe, yeah, and they're all right. But what's the specific reason why your early customers say, I want this product and I want not a Citroën Ami?
Yeah, the big differentiator of what we are doing, and indeed the Citroën Ami is our main competitor and benchmark in the market, is the solar aspect. As I told you, for a large portion of the world, where 90% of people lives actually in sunny areas in between those 45 degrees latitude north and south, 90% of the people there, and exactly there is also the area where charging infrastructure is not so well developed. So the solar aspect comes in very, very practical there. And of course, that's also the area where you need an advanced and high power air conditioning. And that's also something that our competitors are lacking.
Yeah, okay. So your production, you mentioned you want to produce it also where your target markets are.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So the sourcing is mainly from Asia, partly from Europe, and partly from US. Part of the sourcing is also production. So say if we source the chassis, then also part of production is there. So if I'm talking about the factories, that's mainly assembly focused. And because the assembly, it's a tubular chassis, it's quite a simple assembly. That's the reason why we can have those micro factories, because the amount of investment in the assembly is not that large.
Okay. You mentioned it in your pitch deck a bit, but can you elaborate a bit, like in those target areas, in the, I don't know how best to do the sub-Saharan target areas? What's the unit economics in terms of how you perform there, like the sunshine that you have there, range that you get, and the requirements what you have?
Yeah.
Can you dig into that?
To be clear, in that sun belt, if you want to call it, that's like half the Earth. That's between 45 south and north. That's half the Earth. There you will never need to charge. Outside of the sun belt, for instance, in Western Europe. So the sun belt starts around south of France, to be clear.
Yeah.
So outside of that sun belt, you do need to charge in the winter, for instance, but way less than otherwise. So it's still very comfortable and a good feeling that the solar aspect is charging.
Yeah. Can you give me some data on for the sun belt?
Yeah. So if you would live in Spain on a nice day, you would be able to charge 30 kilometers per day on a sunny day like today in Barcelona. On average, say in the south of Spain, would be 20 kilometers per day. These kind of vehicles are used on average around 12 kilometers per day. So if you would calculate, say let's take 20 kilometers per day on average, then on a yearly basis you come out a little bit more than 7,000 kilometers per year. In 10 years, you'll be having around 70,000 kilometers. If you calculate with the kilometer price, if you compare it with, say, public transport, I think we are kind of in the middle between public transport and, say, a Tesla RoboCab. That would be around 10 to 20 cents per kilometer. Yeah. So you would, in 10 years, you would actually earn the vehicle either partly back, like for 80%, or completely back. So it's basically return on investment on the vehicle, and that's basically a first in the automotive sector.
Matthias, Robert, I'm going to have to cut you off there for bring everybody else on. Thank you very much, Robert, for your presentation, and we'll say goodbye to you. Just before I bring on Adam, Sergio actually had a question for you, Matthias. You did mention your investment tickets size. I don't think you mentioned the maximum valuation, if there is one. If you just answer.
So we would typically invest at a valuation up until 10 million euros. Yeah, so that's. But I'm also happy to share what kind of investor I would suggest to Robert. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, well, next one. So we have Adam from RigiTech and Adam's presentation. Adam, all yours. I'll be back in 4 minutes.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Adam Klaptocz. I'm co-founder and CEO here at RigiTech. And I'm going to talk a little bit about network drone logistics today. So we've been hearing about drone delivery for quite some time. I really believe it's going to revolutionize the way we do logistics. It provides near instant delivery, even in traffic-filled cities. It allows businesses to centralize resources because they have expanded logistics capacity. It also lets you expand reach to get hard-to-reach places like mountains, islands, or just places without too much service or infrastructure. And it does this whole thing in a very eco-friendly manner using electric drone vehicles. The promise has been there for a while, but we're finally seeing it turn into reality. And that's mostly for two things that are causing an inflection point. In November of last year, EASA released its latest rules in Europe that allows essentially flights over populated areas. And in July of this year, FAA is releasing the same thing. So we're going to see drone delivery go from being trials in limited areas to really expanding to cities around the globe. Target markets here, even in just the B2B sector, which is what we address, are quite big. The European healthcare logistics market is 33 billion euros, with 5.2 billion in laboratory logistics only. We basically estimate just in this one single market over 100 million by 2030 that can be serviced by our drone systems. So what do we do at Rigi? We build drone delivery solutions to address this last mile delivery problem. Physically, it looks like a big 3-meter wide delivery drone, fully autonomous, where entire fleets can be controlled through our proprietary cloud-based software system that we call Rigi Cloud. It's all remotely operated, it's networked for scale, and most importantly, it's aviation certified. This is not just a dream. We have been at this for about 7 years now. Our product's been on the market for 3, and we now have operations worldwide. Much of it in Europe with over 15 countries operating our aircraft, but we also have drones on 5 continents right now. Over 140,000 kilometers flown as of last week and over 40 aircraft delivered. So we are operating now daily in commercial services with our operating customers. Drones can fulfill a lot of use cases. We focus today mostly on B2B, which is sending laboratory samples between laboratories for testing. We also look at industrial logistics for spare parts in offshore wind turbines, data centers, and telecom. The next industries we'll be addressing is more B2C, so pharmaceutical logistics and parcel delivery. I'll skip over that one here. Really, on the regulatory side, we often get this question, is it possible?
So Adam, please go back one slide. So your customers.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Sorry, I was gonna, due to short time, I can maybe review this quickly.
Well,
our customers are basically operators.
Yeah, that's okay. Just wanted to have a quick look. I got it.
Sure, absolutely. We have about 15 customers right now around the world, in Europe, in the US, but also a few in Australia, in South America as well. Our customers are operators, so basically think of us as the Airbus, and our customers are the airlines, the ones actually doing the service. From a regulatory perspective, this is where we really shine. Is drone delivery possible today? Absolutely. We have flight permissions in over 20 countries on 5 continents. So we've really pushed this hurdle. I understand we're short on time and didn't plan this very well in the 4 minutes. So from a high level, we're at about 2 million in revenue last year, 100% growth year on year. We're looking to hit about 10 million revenue by 2027. 3 co-founders based in Switzerland with about 20 people on the team. And finally, why are we here? We're trying to raise our Series A. So we're looking to raise about 5 million euros, closing by the end of this year. And the main use of funds is expansion of sales, to expand more of a drone as a service model, expand in Europe and into the US, decentralize our assembly line to allow production in the United States as well as in Switzerland where we do today, and reserve some money for development of further automation and AI to make our drones smarter and less human dependent. Thank you very much for your time.
Brilliant. Thank you, Adam. Matthias, all yours for the questions, and I'll be back again in 5 minutes time.
Yeah. So Adam, this is really interesting because we know you, but we already thought you'd already grown out of let's say a seed stage funding. So congratulations on that perception. I mean, you're well known in the market. So
glad you've heard of us. Thank you.
Yeah. So I have a question around your positioning in the market. So I always thought RigiTech was the drone hardware producer, developer, and producer with certified hardware. But you move into operations as well. But please correct me. You do the operations, the technical operations for a commercial operator, or like one of the logos I saw was DSV. So how is your positioning? You are the face to the customer, so you do medical supply delivery, or you do the drone operations for a medical supply delivery company.
No, I think your initial comment was correct, and this is indeed something that's always a little bit difficult to say, especially in a very short pitch. We are the Airbus in this situation, so we provide the technology. More and more, we're providing regulatory services to support our operators to be able to fly, and we're looking to release an airline charter so that people can fly under our hats. But functionally speaking, we don't actually do the delivery operations. So when I say there's 140,000 kilometers flown, that's by our aircraft, but operated by our customers. Yeah. We provide the technology, the software, the support. They're the ones that actually deliver for the laboratories, for the hospitals, for the warehouses, for example. So in the case of DSV, they are a freight forwarder. They're also a warehouse supplier, a warehouse operator. So they will deliver packages from their warehouses to their customers, which may be data centers or wind turbines or telecommunication towers. We just provide the system they use to do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and maybe building on that, how do you see the importance of developing your own hardware? We see two opinions. So the one opinion is, look, hardware is a commodity by now, not a few years ago, but is a commodity by now. And now it is possible, to buy cheap hardware, reliable hardware in China, and you operate it, like the Ukrainian soldiers do. Others say you can't really do the operations unless you really understand and certify the tech that you're flying.
Yeah, so the question is it important to do hardware? Indeed, I think that right now, for very small aircraft, perhaps for small camera drones, they can be done cheaply and they can still run in simplified regulations. But the regulatory framework now, if you want to deliver over people, if you want to deliver in a city, if you want to fly a bigger aircraft like ours, which weighs 25 kilos, these are still certified. They need to be certified. They need to follow regulatory norms. And we're actually seeing more and more they need to be certified and built more locally. So Europe is starting to put restrictions on local manufacturing and local certification. The US is doing a little bit the same. And more generally, if you want to run a delivery operation, you really need to vertically integrate your software and your hardware. Our core, let's say the thing we're best at is regulations and software, but without a drone to run it on, we wouldn't actually be able to have a product that we can sell to customers. So this integration is critical. The intelligence of the software really depends on good control of the hardware. You're seeing the same in vehicles these days. You're seeing more and more car manufacturers starting to take back the software control so they can integrate the software and the hardware together, because only then can you make an autonomous system. So in our case, it's the same. If you don't control the hardware, then you won't be able to get a smooth user experience where the software, the intelligence, the automation works well with the machine that you're actually operating.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
I'm happy to continue that discussion. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to continue. I can send you my email if you don't have it already. Please don't hesitate to get in touch.
You've got your email from the calendar invite. You're all on there, so you've got each other's emails there. But Adam, thank you very much for that. We'll say goodbye to you, and bring on Andrea, who will present Parquery. Andrea, all yours. I'll be back in 4 minutes. Good luck.
Thank you very much for the introduction. So hello, everyone. I'm Andrea Fossati. I'm the CEO and founder of Parquery. And today I'll present you how we would like to improve mobility insights using AI and computer vision. So this might be quite obvious, but in practice, in city planning, in mobility in general, data is a key. And at the moment, it's not used as much as we think it should. For example, AI has transformed cameras from simple surveillance devices into very efficient and cost-effective multi-purpose mobility sensors, and that's what we want to use here at Parquery. So over time, we have built a very broad portfolio of image and video analytics solutions that specialize and focus on mobility. The idea is to use images and videos coming from literally any camera, so also those that are already present, to pass the images to our software, which can run directly on the camera, on a local server, or in the cloud, and then to extract important mobility insights, which can then be made available via API to third-party platforms, and also visualized and used through our own dashboard, which can be accessed from any devices, so computers, tablets, and smartphones. Here you see more concrete examples of what we've been building over time. So we have a pretty broad customer basis on our smart parking, which works for any sort of parking lot. So large outdoor lots, also on street. These work, for example, in supermarkets, airports, cities. And recently, we've also been expanding on truck parking, which is also a very important brick of the mobility in North America and in Europe. So also there, the key is to provide data, both in real time and aggregated, to the operators of such areas. Besides that, we've also built a video pipeline to be able to monitor traffic and pedestrians. And these kind of solutions, we know they take long to sell. They are already providing us revenues. We can actually self-sustain on these solutions. But our goal is also another one, which I'll present in this slide instead. So we have been building in the last months a very nice solution about counting passengers on public transport. So these can work with cameras which are already on board. For example, we've been working with the Swiss Railways since the start of this year on basically monitoring passengers in a train using basically the onboard cameras, server also on board of the train so that the images do not leave the transportation. And then we have been able to deliver very high accurate results, more than 98%, and a very tiny fraction of the cost of whichever other sensors they had before, which were lasers on the doors. So overall, the total cost of ownership is below 5% of what they have at the moment. And we deliver even higher accuracy. And as you can imagine, this data for all the public transport operators is very important for planning, for resource optimization, and staff optimization. So going back to who we are a company that I founded back in 2014. So we have more than 200 projects worldwide, and we are specialized, as I said before, in computer vision for mobility. We have a team of 9 people in total, covering of course, the technical part of the solution and also the sales part. And what we are here to do is actually to fundraise for this additional solution, which we think has a great potential and a great market. The good part is that at the moment we are fully founder-owned, so we are very flexible also in terms of how to take investment, how to roll out the solution. And our goal is to raise 2 million exactly to build more in depth this additional solution for passenger counting and to bring it to the market at a broader scale than our current POC in Switzerland. Having said that, so this concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to talk to you also after the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Matthias, all yours for the questions.
Yes, thank you, Andrea. Thank you for the update. Can you explain a bit, like, I mean, you've tried various use cases and what your learnings were from the various use cases, and then how you ended up at passenger counting.
Absolutely. So what we have seen is that there is a clear market for the solution that we deliver, but in many cases these are very long sales cycles. So with cities, it can easily take 3 to 4 years. So of course we know that this cannot grow like a hockey stick. We are still, as I said before, self-sustainable, but we have seen this niche because besides, let's say, standard project, we sometimes take exploratory projects in the domain of computer vision for mobility. And when starting this project, we are now seeing a very great potential based on the results we have achieved. And that's why we think we could push the growth of the company much further if we can invest on this additional solution.
Okay. And what were the use cases that you've tried before? Like the ones that you, did you also do projects on, let's say, you mentioned truck parking, for instance?
Yeah, so these are the normal, let's say, car parking and truck parking form at the moment, basically 90% of our revenues. And we have been selling them for the last 10 years.
Yeah, okay. And where do you stand in terms of traction revenue this year and last year? So
this year we target about $1 million in revenues, which basically brings us to sort of self-sustainability. Last year we were in the range of 650,000.
Okay. Cool. And you're looking for 2 million in funding, you say?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. How much funding has gone into the company so far?
So at the moment, about 3 million euros.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, as I said before, so recently I've been able to repurchase all our shares from our previous investors, so we are fully funded right now.
Okay. And can you explain a bit about your business model, how you make money? Let's say with the passenger counting, is that a software, is that SaaS model, a subscription done by SBB, or how does it work?
Yeah, so the idea is that basically all our solutions are sold as a service. So we, for example, for the parking solution, we charge a certain fee per parking space per month. And that's also the idea for the passenger counting. At the moment, we have been just, let's say, charging our time to build this POC. Yeah. But of course, the goal is to charge a fee, for example, per train per month or something like that on operating and making sure that everything works smoothly.
Cool. Cool. Thanks a lot.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Andrea.
Thanks, everyone. Pleasure.
We'll jump on to Rich from Finmile. Rich, if you could start sharing your screen. There you go. Brilliant. Thank you very much.
So Matthias has already said no to us. So we just need to get down to the stones of why he said no.
Okay, well, this will be an interesting one then. I'll be back to do the pitch, and I'll be back in full.
No, we said we're only back exceedingly good-looking founders. And Rich tried to persuade me to say, look, I am really...
Sorry, we lost you a bit there. But let's go for everyone else on the call. We'll go through, and then Matthias can decide to change his mind.
There we go.
So let's see how we go there. Look, I think we've got an amazing team. We've got some amazing investors. We're super, super lean. We're only 3 people in London, 7 people in Romania, where we build all our tech. And I think ultimately we have to remember the way we shop has changed. No longer are we going to malls. Malls are closing. Shops are closing. Temu is exploding. TikTok Shop is exploding. And what we really see is that logistics 1.0 has changed. It was super asset heavy. The margins are low to negative. It's super slow. Defensibility is very weak, and the tech is very, very weak. All these companies here, they own the fleet. They own the warehouses. They own the negative margins. And anyone who's tried to build a logistics company knows how hard it is. And they're trying to build Amazon with someone else's wallet, burning millions. They're not scaling. And so what we focus on is delivery 2.0, where we do kind of what Uber did with taxis. We're doing that to delivery. So with taxis, they own the vehicles, they hire the drivers, capital intensive, low margin. With Uber, they let other people bring the assets, provide the software, route, match, score, and scale. Uber provides a marketplace, rider, driver, routing and trip optimization, quality control. We do that for delivery. So delivery 2.0, we're not building trucks, we're building the software layer. We charge 7 to 11 cents per parcel optimized, and a minimum of $3,500 per month per customer. We make about 80% margin on that. We also then have our marketplace, where we are taking a 10% cut of whatever parcel is delivered. So if we deliver a parcel for $3, we charge 30 cents. There's no cost to the brands, and we work with some of the biggest brands in the industry. They've already placed their trust in us. We don't charge them money. We make the delivery service providers compete for the work, and we charge them, and with higher margins as we scale. So why this works is we're super asset light, no vans, no warehouses, no drivers, just lots of integrations. We control the route, the tracking, the proof, and once we're plugged in, clients do not leave us. The traction, so we did 1.9 million in revenue last year. We closed the year out at 5 million in ARR. This year we'll do around 6 million in revenue. We are profitable in August, so we're only burning about 20K a month at the moment, and we're profitable. The future is we see this huge network growth because we can launch new countries by adding DSPs globally with no infrastructure cost. We expand our brand relationships across countries. The more volume equals more negotiating power with carriers, and we get higher take rates, better routing performance, and we're investing now in our sales team. So the tech now, 35% of our tech is generated by AI. We'll soon be at 60%. We've got real-time optimization, predictive rerouting, automated returns. So with us, you plug in, you optimize, we take a cut. With an Uber of last mile, with a Stripe for delivery, this invisible layer that comes in, and we help brands become more profitable. This is a platform that logistics is starting to run on. That's it.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Rich. Well, Matthias.
Yeah. So who else is on the call, Tom? How many people are on the call now?
You're going to say something that you don't want them to hear.
No. I'm always an open person, but I need to know how open I can be. How many people are on the call, Tom?
About 16.
16. Okay. So let me be very frank. So first of all, we love the business model that Rich is going for, and he's got a highly experienced team. So the trends, the team, and what he's going for, I think that's all super strong. So there is also a risk involved in what they're doing. I mean, that's the last mile delivery is a super tough business. And like the path that you're pursuing, going away from operations heavy, taking all the learnings you had there the hard way, and then going to an asset light model, I think that makes perfect sense. So for that's super strong, and we feel that's the way to go. What made us still not convinced was simply that you're transitioning from one business model to the other, and your organization hasn't fully done that transition. Maybe you have in the meantime, maybe. So that's to be very frank. As an investor, we would like to see a clean sheet of paper. Everything you've done in the past is in the past, and you start now with a fresh, I don't know how you say in English, with a clean sheet of paper approach. So that's the one thing. And the second thing is, of course, you have super strong traction, but it all depends, of course, on a few strong customers. So you're dependent on a few strong customers, so that's. And as an investor, you always balance the risk and the potential. But that's nothing to say. There's no I'm very frank. There's no red flag where we would say this company doesn't make sense. This team doesn't make sense. We don't spend a lot of time on teams where we think this doesn't make sense. Yeah, so I'm very, very open, Rich. We have a lot of sympathy. We know your space. We know where you're coming from, and we think that's exactly the right direction you're going. I think you have a couple of companies in your industry that prove the point. Like Hive just did a very good funding round with a far more asset-heavy approach than you guys are doing. So there is. Yeah,
I'd have to agree on that. I've had as a business angel, I had 2 logistics companies where we had similar problems. One had more of the marketplace model, and the other had more of the last mile delivery model. And the problem is it's such a cutthroat business that 1 cent, 2 cent difference in cost, and you can lose a customer. So if you've got very high customer concentration, the possibility or probability that at some point you're going to lose that customer because of this pricing competition is actually really quite high. And if you think we're looking at a 7-year investment time period, at some point during that 7 years, something's going to go horribly wrong. In many cases, not in all, obviously, but in many cases. So yeah, I'd have to agree that the risk profile in that your specific
one data point. Yeah, Rich, may I ask you for one data point, just where you stand in terms of revenue with your half-year figures?
So the first 6 months of revenue, we did 1.4, because obviously logistics is heavily focused on the end of the year. Look, everything we're working for now is to call Matthias and make him regret for not investing. So gives us more determination.
There we go.
There's nothing better than that, is there? Well, Rich, thank you very much for your time, and we'll say goodbye to you and bring on Avinoam and his presentation. And it's all yours. I'll be back in 4 minutes. When you see me on screen, it's time to finish up. Can you hear us, Avinoam? Avinoam? We can see your screen, but we can't hear you. I don't know if you can hear us. Can you hear us? Avinoam? You can hear us. Okay, we can't hear you. No, we can't hear you. There must be some issue with your microphone. Well, I'll tell you as soon as we can start hearing you. I can hear Matthias.
I'm already taking notes,
Yeah, I can see. I can hear that. But Avinoam, we can't hear you yet. Now you don't seem to be moving. Oh yeah, you are moving. Sorry. So it's not a connection problem. It's just a microphone problem. You've muted yourself. You're off mute. Speak again. See if we can hear you. Oh, something. No, you're not connected. Switched off the camera. You're back. Oh, speak. I think we might hear you now. No, unfortunately not. No. Try again. No. Oh, wait a sec. Sorry, I didn't have you on screen. Try again. No. Shall we give it one last try? If not, we'll... No. you want to maybe we stay on, have a quick chat with Matthias here online, and you restart your computer or something, just in case it's one of those silly things that only resolves itself when you restart? Yeah, okay, we'll do that. So Matthias, just you and me here for the moment. So
is it only the two of us?
It's just well, we're live still, but it's just the two of us on the screen. I'll bring it back on. Avinoam back on as soon as he connects. But I'll say my thank yous then now, and then we just could disconnect at the end. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope that you found it interesting so far. Two companies that you already knew, one that had been rejected, but I hope that the RigiTech we've known within the Connected Mobility Hub for a long time, and it's been, you know, they seem to be fulfilling everything that they've said that they would, as we've seen them going through the years. So that's obviously a positive, right? It shows that they have a capacity to execute correctly. But generally, I hope that you found it interesting so far. And let's see if Avinoam, how long his computer takes to restart, and then we'll bring him on screen. Hopefully,
yeah. But let me use that time and thank you for the format, and thank you for inviting me. Is indeed so. We are a specialist investor like you, so we claim to know the field pretty well. So some of the companies we didn't know yet, and also something I learn every day is even you may look at a company, talk to a person, and then 2 or 3 months later it's a different company, and something has happened, something has worked out, and so it's worthwhile touching base again and see it's worth talking again. So that is also something I come to learn every day.
It's so true, so true. And also how they present sometimes. Avinoam, should we see if you can hear me now? We can hear you, so go for it. Start sharing, and then it's all yours.
But now I need to upload the presentation again?
That I don't know. Normally you can either upload or you can share your screen.
I can share my screen?
Yeah. If you click on present, it gives you the option to share. It just says share screen.
Okay, I will share my screen. Okay, it will be easier. Okay, share screen. Screen. Okay, just let me. You see my screen, I believe.
We can see the screen.
Let me just open my presentation, and then we can go. We can start. Sorry for.
No worries. This happens to the best of us.
Okay. So now we are on the same page now?
Perfect.
Okay.
Well, it's all there. I'll be back in 4 minutes. Okay. Good luck.
Thank you very much. So we are building an operational system. We call it like Uber-like solution from any point to any point within any type of private and contained environment. Imagine yourself any transportation in resorts, airports, retirement communities, industrial sites, hospitals, seaports that have an internal transportation for people and goods within the facility or the area, and its contained area and managed area. Any type of service like that, it's as a high cost. There is driver shortage, significant driver shortage, a lot of safety concerns, and the people that are really driving the vehicles are not disciplined. So our solution is to bring a full autonomous solution end to end. We are, just to clarify, we are not the vehicle manufacturer. We are not the sensor manufacturer. We are a software house with a lot of system capability that sign an OEM agreement with one of the vendor and intend to sign additional agreement with other OEM to create such end-to-end solution. The output of such solution will be around 75% cost reduction, increase significantly the safety, and the most important things, finally the people will know exactly when and where they will be picked up, because in those services today there is a lot of miscommunication about picking up the people or the goods. those people, we build an AI that really replacing what we call the boring jobs. We just signed an agreement with Seattle Airport. We got the PO around 2 weeks ago. We already shipped them the cards. And the main problem within Seattle Airport is that the people really does not want to wake up in the morning and be a driver to take the people in the terminal to the train 1 mile or 1 kilometer from side to side all day round. Our end-to-end solution built from 4 elements. One of them is autonomous low-speed vehicle. Okay, we have a unique technology for low-speed vehicle. And this is we are doing with partner, with OEM best partner. We have developed a unique safe map trademark technology. We have developed all the software for the cards. We have a fleet management that enable you to run all the fleet within the contained area, and a reservation web app, which is much simpler than the concept of Uber-like for those type of services. We make an impact by having accessibility solution for elderly and disabled people. We see a lot of demand over there. We have a sharing benefits. We are working in pedestrian friendly. Currently, we are working in the national park in Israel, and which we are driving in between people. And of course, we are avoiding accidents. So that's why we are supporting sustainability as well. The business model is very simple. It's based on like leasing type of model. It's $3,000 per month, contract for 60 months. So the customers save time the first day he deploy it. The salary that he saves is much higher than the cost he pays us. Okay, so it's a very simple model. You can see here the food chain, which is the OEM partners, a Carteav, which build around it the solution, and all the customers. About the team. So first of all, we are a team that already made it once, which means that we build. I was the manager, but my partner Eli Doron was the co-founder of RadVision. RadVision was the first Zoom-like solution for enterprises. Went to Nasdaq for $1 billion, and Zvika is the third leg, which is responsible for the R&D, and he brings a lot of autonomous expertise from our defense industry, from mainly the Israeli army. And we are backed up from leaders as investor as well, which is Rick Wagner, the ex-CEO of General Motors, Mark Joseph of Transdev North America, the CEO, which is mainly for transportation, and Lawrence Geller, which is coming for the hospitality industry and manage a lot of luxury hotels. And you can see on the side some of other of our investors. How it works, you open the application, you don't need to download any app. You get your location, and then you push one button, order now. When the cart is coming to you, it's open all the POI within the area with images. You select the image you want to go, and then you say, let's go. That's all. You don't need to select and the address and so on within the organization. We believe we have a $44 billion opportunity, out of it $18 billion in North America. We are starting from the Sunny Belt area in North America because our partner is based on golf cart. It doesn't have doors and air conditions, so that's how we started. The go-to-market. Go-to-market is.
Avinoam, what I'll do, I'll cut you off there because we lost a little bit and we're coming up to the hour. And I'll let Matthias get these the rest of the presentation, as it were, answered in the questions. So Matthias, all yours.
Yeah. Thanks, Avi, for the presentation. And can you just go a bit into your current traction, where you stand?
Current traction is that we are having 2 customers in Israel. We have already 12 vehicles, autonomous vehicle. One currently we are starting in Seattle. We signed an agreement and we are going to ship the first unit within, I believe, 2 weeks to a partner that also invests in us, which is a go-to-market partner. They are doing a ball picker. In the golf industry, there is a unit that is collecting the balls. So they're connected to our unit. We are doing an autonomous ball picker as well. So currently we have 4 sites, around 30,000 rides already, and more than 100 customers that approach us. Seattle Airport and all the rest, we are not approaching customers. If you will look today in the internet, we invested in 4 years for self-driving golf carts, autonomous golf carts. We are number 1. People are approaching us. In the last year, 120 customers approach us from resorts, network chains, Marriott, and so on and so forth, to Seattle, to Four Seasons, to many others.
Where do you see the first customers come from? Are those hotels?
Where do we see the customers?
I see the demand coming.
I see 3 main, currently I see 3 main verticals. One of them resorts, second airports, and the third one currently I see is all the gated community, which included in those area retirement communities, gated community, campuses communities like universities, industrial campuses, and so on. Okay, that's how we see it right now. And for all of them, we currently have some type of installation.
Cool. I'm good. Tom?
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Matthias. Well, thank you very much, Avinoam, for your presentation. And with that, Matthias, I'll just say thank you very much for your time. I hope you found it useful. And hopefully we'll have you back at another time on another of these events.
Happy to do so. Thanks a lot, Tom.
Brilliant. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.